Oh man, trying to do Christmas by myself is so hard, especially when the hat kind of sucks and the only thing I find for decoration is this Santa Claus. Listen, buddy, you're really gonna have to pull your weight around here to bring the Christmas spirit. Oh, hey everyone, and welcome to What's Groovin'. I'm your host, Disorderly Cone. Yeah, the Neomatic is still out for some repairs, and things are looking a little quiet around here. Time travel can be a little bit weird, so I don't know where we are in the timeline. I can't say too much just yet. Anyway, let's get to our first story, looking at Metal Earth. Unfortunately, there's nothing really new here, but we do have some news coming out from the Metal Earth subreddit. Some people were saying, hey, in the catalog, there's some, advertisements that kind of look like the Jawa Sandcrawler is going to be coming out a lot sooner than later. Well, my friends, this is only speculation, but I could totally guess that with the new Mandalorian series coming out, that's most likely when we're going to see the Sandcrawler actually make an appearance. This is one that we've all been waiting for, and I know that as soon as it comes out, I'm going to try to get my hands on it. It's just about when it comes available here in Canada. It's kind of one of those things. I mean, I do have a time machine, so jumping down to the United States might be a little easier said than done, but I try to keep things kosher. But with that, let's go over to our friends at CrazyToys. These guys here have a couple of new models for us. Actually, they're not necessarily new, but they are new to offer here, which is the Pupil of Gods. These are an interesting set of models, which kind of look like they replicate angels in some ways. Very unique looking. There's a whole bunch of them here. And of course, now you can purchase each one of these now at CrazyToys. They look awesome. And as always, MU has some great detail in their models, and usually they come together quite well too. So if you've been looking to kind of get out of the Metal Earth kind of bubble and check out something a little bit different, MU is a good place to start. You'll be blown away by the detail and the instructions that come with their models. Speaking of things you might be blown away with, everyone, I got something pretty cool to show you. Our friends over at Metal Time have some pretty cool new models that kind of slid under the radar. I had no idea these were coming out, and being that these have come out now, I'm actually kind of excited to get my hands on them and check them out. What am I talking about, of course? Well, let's take a quick little look. First of all, let's go to all products because this is a good way to be able to see everything. And this is kind of what threw me off. When you look at all the products here on the Metal Time workshop page, and we go to date here, newest to oldest, we see a whole bunch of these kind of metal cast planes being added to the store. And I've looked at this several times, and that's kind of what I've seen. But those have buried something that I think is really neat and something that we all need to take another look at, and that's some of these more simpler 3D metal models. Now, with these companies like Metal Time or Time for Machine, these metal models are typically made of higher grade steel, and they're more complex, and they usually have some kind of motion built into them. So they're more of a premium style 3D metal model, if you will. That also means the price tag tends to be on the higher side. Well, now they've released some simpler models here, and I actually want to know how big they are because I'm super curious about that. So like right now, we have the tractor here for $15.95. We have a whole bunch of tanks, which look super cool. Again, they're simple in design, but because they're made of that really nice thick steel, I think these will look really nice in our collections. I mean, just look at these. They're so cool, and there's so many different kinds. I can't believe these kind of flew under my radar. And again, if we click on one, let's just take a look at the Bullet T64 here. If we look at this guy, we can see that, first of all, it's really detailed. I mean, just take a look at that model. We can see there's a whole bunch of nice laser etching in there. Yeah, it doesn't have all the detail and coloring that we've seen from the Metal Earth models, but this is almost a different kind of style, different kind of art style, and something that I actually really appreciate. Again, because it is a thicker metal, I do expect these ones to be a little bit more complex in terms of getting those cylinders there on top. So I do expect these to be a little bit more challenging than your typical Metal Earth model, especially now that the Metal Earth metal is coming from a different place. I've gotten reports that they are actually a little bit easier to bend than before. I have a whole bunch of new models that just arrived here from Metal Earth, and I'm super excited to get to them. I'm kind of trying to choose choose which one to build. So I'm going to be able to report on that firsthand quite soon. But again, these models from Metal Time just look absolutely awesome. And unfortunately, there's nobody else really offering this kind of style model anymore in the market. So these are super cool. I mean, look at this one here, the Trophy Hunt. This actually almost looks like something from the Time for Machine guys, but this one looks a lot cooler. I love the whole brass and silver look. The tires look awesome too. I wonder if this one is remote controlled. Can we take a quick look at a video? So right there we can see that this is not remote controlled. This is kind of spring controlled in the way that you can crank it back and let it go. Super cool. I love the look of this. I would love to get my hands on it to be able to try to build it and see what kind of build quality we can get from this model. And of course we start to break into some of the other Kickstarters that we've seen here. And I do believe that these are becoming available soon, if not already. Now these models here, some of them look like they don't actually have a finishing touch on them. Let's take a quick little look at this and see if there's something I can see here. But see, it says order right now. So like, can I order this? Can I put it into my cart? Can I ship it? Yeah, just like that. So I can actually order these right now. So maybe I'm going to do that. I can get my hands on these, check them out for you, have a couple of builds, and we'll be able to take a look at these maybe in the new year. Anyway, I really wanted to draw your attention because I know some of you guys out there have been wanting some more cost-effective models from these premium companies, and Metal Time has definitely pulled through here. So I'm excited to check these guys out, and I know that you are too. Groovers, let's move on to the next thing here. Again, looking at our friends over at Time for Machine. Unfortunately, there's not really a whole bunch of new things to report here. They do have some smaller scale models, but again, showing you this here, they have the chicken train here for $10. That's one that would be on the smaller side as well. And they also have their offering, which is the Sherp. This is kind of the one that I was talking about when it comes to the remote control side of things. Super cool. It's completely remote controlled. Again, left, right, up, down. This guy can move around. It's super neat. One that, again, that I would kind of want to get my hands on. There's a couple of models from Time for Machine, like the watch and this one here, that I would love to be able to build to see how their side of things have evolved from when they first started. And now seeing this kind of stuff here being offered. I know that was in their Kickstarter, I believe, not too long ago. So to be able to see that now offered here looks really neat. They also have the medieval hockey game. The price tag on that has come down quite significantly. If you're into more of these more premium models, you might know that this is something that was offered in their first Kickstarter. And yes, this was actually quite an expensive build. They've kind of upgraded it a couple of times, and this one now comes with red and blue players. Super neat. If you want to get this for Christmas, I would highly recommend it. It's a nice little fun game. I mean, Canadians out there, you love those little 3D metal model builds. This is one you can play with. It's a nice little desk game. It's something you can play with the kids. I think it's a cool build. Not one that I've actually got my hands on, but I've seen similar builds to it, and I've played with those, and yeah, they were pretty fun to play with, especially for a little bit there. Okay, now let's move over to our friends over at the Moyu store. The Moyu store has a couple of new things for us. First, they have this dragon here with over 2,030 pieces. This is an absolute beast. Now, my favorite steampunk build from the Moyu store was actually the piranha, or I shouldn't say the piranha, it was the anglerfish that we built. That first build there was so cool. It was so awesome. It was just a really neat piece to be able to put together. It's actually just right back there. I generally have it out in pride because it's one of my favorite things to bring around and show people when they ask what I do. Now, this one looks like it could rival it in how cool this really is. I mean, if we take a closer look at it real quickly. Now, I would imagine this is definitely on the harder side of difficulty. Again, we're seeing that this is over 2,030 pieces, and with the nuts, the bolts, and all the different little custom pieces. I'm sure that this is going to take a long time to put together. Yeah, right there, 20 hours. They recommend 12 plus. You know, 12 plus, you got to be a really talented 12-year-old. I actually have a 12-year-old in my house right now. If I gave him this, I think it would be a little bit too hard for him. I think this is more for like the 16-year-old category. And even then, the 16-year-old is going to be pretty patient when putting this together. But I know that when I was younger, I would have died if I had this. I would have been like, oh my goodness, I'm going to sit down and just get this all together before I can do anything else. But that's also the ADHD brain kind of putting things down like that. You guys know that if you've been watching my Instagram, I did a whole story on there, and it's kind of crazy because I put that story out. I used some AI generated art there to be able to finish some of my stuff, but I wrote the story completely by myself, and then literally the next week all this stuff started blowing up about the generated AI story stuff, and a part of me kind of wishes I would have put the story through that to see if I could have critiqued my story a little bit differently. But at the same time, I'm really proud of what I came out with. So anyway, getting back to the dragon. The dragon looks super cool. I think this is something that I might want to get my hands on to see if it rivals the whole anglerfish. And I think that we should maybe talk about that in the comments below. Is this something you guys want me to build? Let me know. Just put it down in the comments. Let's get it going there. Let's look at some other things that they have here. Real quickly, if I can move this down. Oh, I went too far. There we go. We got the dragon claw lamp. Now, the dragon claw lamp has had a few different iterations. There's a squid version. There's a kind of a dragony looking kind of version. And now we have this one here, which is more of a claw. I think that's kind of neat. And something that if you've been looking for a moon lamp and you want something a little bit different, I think you should take a look at. I haven't had my chance to look at any of these lamps just yet. They haven't kind of flown into my radar, but they do look neat. And if I was to get one, I think it would be between... this one here and the whole like Kraken squid one. Now, one other thing I want to take a look at before we get too far, the Moyu store is actually offering a 3D metal model kind of package, if you will, for Christmas, which I think is neat. Like I've said in some previous videos, there's not really any Christmas-focused kind of villages, and to be able to see something like this from the Moyu store is a great start. We get the whole 3D metal model in the background, which is kind of a, 3D metal model holiday village, if you will, but this one here comes with some golden reindeer, super cool, and also that rockin' keychain light, which I think is super neat. He's a pretty cool little elf, or Santa I should say, and one that is kind of on the hardware side. If you've looked at it a little closer, it doesn't really fit with the deers and things. The deers are kind of more CNC metal. This is a hardware model, but still a neat idea to bring different kinds of metal models together and put them into a neat holiday bundle. And of course, our friends at the Moyu store, being metal model experts, know how to do it, and they did it in a great way this year. Really cool stuff coming from the Moyu store. Yeah, we're getting back into the butterflies. So now it's time to show you one more thing, which I think is super cool. This is something that kind of has been popping up on advertisements, and I'm trying to dive into it a little bit more, and trying to find any kind of information on it has been, to say the least, difficult. Even the Facebook group is a little bit sketchy, but it is kind of cool. Let's take a quick little look at what I'm talking about. This is the Armour1, if I'm saying that correctly, and this is a really neat piece of kit. Now, I know I'm showing you an article here, and it's because it's really hard to try to, again, find anything on here of substance. I have a video queued up to show you. I also have some kind of promo footage here to show you, but what I wanted to kind of give you the idea before we jump too far into this is that this is a wooden model that you put together, and it kind of goes on like a piece of armor onto your arm, and it has a blaster attached to it. It has some really neat mechanical movements, and I know that a lot of you out there, when you see this, are going to be like, I know I'm a little old for this, because again, I know how old everyone is that watches my videos, guys. I got the demographics, but I know for a fact you're gonna love this because it's so cool. It's not a hidden blade. It's not like a mech thing, but it's kind of, if you took the best of those two worlds and smashed them together, you got this guy right here. Let me show you this. I mean, look at that thing. Already I have it on the screen for you. That's such a cool little piece of kit. Unfortunately, the way that you see this thing move is kind of deceiving in the picture. It does launch out like that, but you have to kind of bring it back and lock it back into place. I mean, that's not a big deal, but still kind of cool. It has foam little tiny rubber bullet. You know, I'm kind of telling you how this whole thing works, but why don't I just go ahead and show you? I told you I had a video lined up. Let's take a look at the video together. I'm going to be quiet. Take a look at this. I lied. I'm actually not going to be quiet at all. I'm going to talk through the entire thing. I mean, the pizza's there. That's how I spend my Saturdays sometimes. Just get the nice little pizza. Sir. I mean, I try to avoid alarms on Saturdays.
Working hours. Sir, do we continue with the work from yesterday?
Yes. I need the data of the cannon.
Okay, listen, there's only one time traveling model maker, and I don't have those cool glasses, but listen, me and the Moyu store, we're gonna get together, we're gonna make some really cool steampunk glasses. It's gonna blow everyone's minds, and you'll be hitting me up next time. You should have hit me up already. Nothing on a solid screwdriver, just saying.
Attention! Some unidentified creatures intruding.
I need a portable loading plan.
The following loading plans have been provided.
Alright, now this is where we get into the whole portable armor that I was talking about before. There was some of the original game that was actually made from these guys, the Pal game. I kind of left that out. I didn't want to talk too much over. I wanted to leave you guys to see this a little bit. But now we can see this thing being assembled. You're about to see how it actually operates. Check it out.
What? What are you doing here? Go downstairs for the meal.
Sure, Mom.
Ha, just joking. It's his mom, and yeah, great voiceover work here.
Hi, I'm Rio. I'm now introducing you to our newest product, Armour1. This is Armour1. It's more than a set of assembled toys. This time, you can even wear it. Raise your hand to deploy the armor and recycle it at a single pullback.
I love how Buddy's a cyborg there in the background. I mean, that's pretty good. Do you get to have that kind of cool cyborg paint? That would be neat.
This Armour1 will bring you a more stunning visual
I love how the wings open up there on the side, also on the bottom. That looks cool too.
Which has a simulated bullets trigger system, delivery, firing, ejection. You won't miss
These
anything.
firing mechanisms don't typically always work the best, so I'm interested to see how this one will actually work, especially because it has an ejection system. To be able to see that all work together would be neat
but
too.
also on Untitled, and even on our new Untitled Tiny Kit to experience one-handed performance. Besides, we have designed more weapon kits that can be loaded onto Armour1. Oh, it looks like we'll have to talk about more details some other time. So I'll see you next time.
And that's pretty much it. So right there, you guys can understand why it looks super cool, and I'm excited for it. The problem is with this is, unfortunately, it's extremely hard to find any more information about when this is going to a Kickstarter campaign. Even in the article here, it links you to multiple different websites that aren't even in English, and I think that you can actually purchase this right now. There was a couple of websites that I went to, and it looks like I could actually buy it right now, which I thought was interesting because I thought this was going to a Kickstarter, and that's why I say this is kind of sketchy. So something real quickly I want to touch on. As a YouTube creator, sometimes it's kind of hard to vet some of these different projects, if you will, that are being established. Like I said with this one here, it says there was supposed to be a Kickstarter, but then I was actually able to find it to be able to purchase right now. So it's weird to me that that could be happening. Now, the reason why this normally is happening is because there's some kind of drop ship thing happening. The product already exists, they're putting their brand name on it, and then they're shipping it out to you saying it's something new. This is something that happens all the time, and especially in influencer culture, it takes place more than we like to admit. Now, with that being said, I try to do my best to vet everything that comes through here on the channel, especially the people that sponsor the channel, to make sure that they have good intentions, or at least have a good understanding of who they're trying to serve in the industry. I'm by no way a gatekeeper, but I do try to do my best to make sure that I'm being as honest as possible. So when it comes to these programs when it comes to these projects like this that look super cool and have really neat movements in them, I'm a little bit skeptical by what they're claiming that it's going to be able to do in the end. But I do know that this company here has a successful tabletop game in the past that had some pneumatic motions in it. So I do see this being a product that could actually work. Now, I'm going to wait to see what comes of the whole Kickstarter thing and kind of what comes of more research from this project. But it's still something super neat and something that I wanted to show you. And I'm glad actually that we got to talk a little bit about this stuff. I am excited for this project, and if you do want to look into it a little bit more, you can find some information here, but like I said, unfortunately, I believe this to be all in Chinese, so it's actually really hard to be able to get any detailed information unless you want to take this and then bring it into Google Translate and get the information that way. But with that, my friends, we are at the end of our episode of What's Groovin', and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've kind of covered some really neat projects here. If you guys find anything neat out there you want to talk about or want me to look into, put it down in the comments down below. I love looking into this stuff. And if you guys want to see some other really cool projects throughout the week, check out our Instagram. We post stories there every single day showing off your projects and also neat stuff from all around the world, from mechanical motions to really cool projects that people build and wood carving and everything else. Groovers, if you've had a good time here, press that subscribe button, as we got all kinds of other really cool content coming out soon, including some cool countdowns and one more big project before the end of the year. Until next time, Groovers, keep building. And now I gotta figure out how I can get some more decorations up. This Santa really didn't bring the holiday spirit in this episode. We didn't even get a single hoe out of you.